Thank you for asking this very important question. And if I hadn't come across a recent legal issue, I wouldn't have probably had anything tangible to say to you. But being that I've experienced this real time, I've even been in those meetings. I've even had conversations with this kind of situation. I'm going to advise you from a different point of view, not a designer's point of view. Now, whenever you see any assets at all, any assets, image, and I'm not only touching fonts, you see images, fonts, icons, excuse me, mockups, and so on, and you see them that they are not for commercial use. Please do not use them. All right, because for you to be able to use them for commercial use, that means you have to buy their license. There's a license that comes with all of these things. And when we download these files, we just delete the actual file. You don't know that those licenses that come with these files are very, very important. They are the most important piece of information in that file that you've downloaded or that font that you've downloaded. So I'm just going to tell you a story or give you the scenario that played out late last year. So my company was not fined but charged about $80,000. $80,000. And I know these rates comes from different factors. But do you know that fonts usage or fonts are counted based on usage? If you use the font in the app, you use it in your code. These brands that produce these fonts count the usage. They can get your line of code and use that to estimate the cost that you've used for that. So I didn't know all of this information until then. Like, you use a font and you get a license. You didn't get a license, for instance, and you would be charged based on how you use that font. So if you used it on social media designs, you used it in your app design, your web app design, your admin design, as long as these brands can have access to these different products or assets that you've used them on, they can charge you based on each usage and not a complete usage. They cannot say, okay, they're not saying, oh, you used it on your app, okay, this is the cost. They charge based on the number of words that you've used that font for in your app. Do you understand? And this can impact the businesses you work for. Maybe you've worked for the business and you've gone away. Maybe it was just a freelance gig. That business would either be charged later on or be sued when they grow, because these brands don't target small businesses. Some of them may do this, but they target those established businesses that they know that these businesses will be able to pay this money if we charge them, and they wouldn't want to go to court, because if they go to court, they may pay even more, and they will spend even more. So this type of businesses will just want to just pay the money and probably just stop using the font. And the cost of using that font in our products went into $40,000 per year. So for us to continue using the font, we had to change the font completely. Right now, we're using an open source font, and that is the best approach. If you cannot pay for a font license to use that font and read the document, some fonts just cover the payment. They don't cover the usage. So there's payment to get the license and there's payment for usage. It's completely different. The usage is more expensive. You might see a font that you bought for $16, but when you use it and those brands come for you, you're paying $16,000. It's not a joke. So you can read up on this about fonts licensing and the cost. You will see that some fonts even cost up to $1 million based on just using it. You have not even gone anywhere. You just pick the font and you don't have the license and you use it. So all those fonts that you go on Google and you ask what the font, and they tell you this font has license, because they'll tell you. And then you go on Google and type the font's name and then put free font download and download it. I used to do that. Stop doing it. it's going to impact those businesses. And this is why the businesses come to you. They come to you for this consultation. They come to you for this advice to guide their brand towards the right path so that they don't make mistakes today that would impact them tomorrow. So that 80,000 that the company paid would have gone into something else, would have gone into salaries or the tools that we use for that are relevant to our work. It would have gone into that. But it went for font payment based on the number of years that we've been using that font from the inception of the company. So they charged throughout those periods. And this was not a joke. So, guys, this is a very important question this person asked. You can read up more on licensing, especially for the aspects of your usage, so that you understand what this actually means. And what I do is I charge for all of these things. I worked on a project recently that I didn't want to proceed with any assets unless the asset is produced by the brand. It's either produced by the brand or paid for by the brand. And even when they pay for it, I don't use my account to pay for it. The brands pay for these things and they send it over. Like I had to use Envato Elements recently, and the payment was done by the client. They had to pay for the subscription, for 1 month subscription, and I used the assets there. And the account details and every information that is showing there is the company's own. It's not my details. So that tomorrow I'm not charged because I'm the designer, I paid for it. Now the font is showing under my name. So I kept everything under their details. They do the management, educate them on why they are doing this and the future costs that they would incur if they do it the wrong way. It's easy to go online and find images and use for your design. You just go to Google, you search for a specific image, you go to the image tab, you right click on the image, you save it and you use. It would impact you drastically. So every time you have to download something, click on the link that takes you to that asset. If that asset is a premium asset and you cannot pay for it, do not use it. If the asset is said, okay, you cannot pay for it, but this is for personal use, you can use it for only your personal projects that will not go live. When I say live, I mean they would not be produced. They are just for training purposes. You can upload them on your portfolio. It's absolutely fine. But as long as it will go live, where someone can audit your website or audit your app to know what font you've used. Sometimes they just do it randomly. Someone must have seen a font and say, this one looks like our font. And they go check you can check this easily from the code. Like Framer is using inter variable. I knew this because I checked recently. So they can check. And based on the code now, there's AI. They can just take everything and upload on AI to tell them the number of words that you've used this for. And they will equate that to the products that you have. Or they will do their own further analysis. So you have to be very, very careful. And thank you for asking this. Sorry for the long voice note. I wanted to break it down in a way that everybody would understand, both new, beginner. Some experts they've not even experienced this. This is the truth. And I think it's something that happens once in your career. You would experience that someone that you worked for was charged for a mistake that you did. And the good thing is, this mistake was not mine. I joined the company and they've been using the font. I've been using it. When I even joined, I was recommending another font because the font did not even look good, especially in English. It wasn't looking good. So I recommended the font and finally they went with the font. They would have saved money when I joined. So these are the kind of decisions that you need to make in certain places when you join them that tomorrow they will appreciate you for that decision you made. So probably if they have taken my decision at that time 1 year ago, maybe the cost would have reduced from 80,000 and go downwards more. So all the best, guys. Cheers. Bye.